Hey, today I'm doing a Q&A and it's basically about Invasion of Europe because that small friendly game store, local friendly game store tournament has a lot of people doing all kinds of stuff and asking me all kinds of stuff. And I'm going to try and answer some of it today. So I'm also going to show you a couple of more lists from the event. Among them, one from Beth, who was actually a co-writer for the recent Army of Germany's book. So I think we should go and find the lists first. Let me just find those for you. I should have gotten these in advance, but I didn't. Lots to do. But a lot of the other questions for today are going to be about how you build lists, and I'm going to show you an example of an American list I did. And they're going to be about Russian bomb dogs and Russian AT assets. So that's basically the program for today. And I've got one list up, and I wanted the other one here. So it's Beth and it's Carl I wanted to show you. Right, here we go. So this list is Carl's list. And it's 12 organized, 1250. He's bringing Soviets. He's got a platoon commander, regular, with an extra man. He's got large units of infantry regulars. This is what you need to do if you want them to survive in this meta here. And then backline holder here, a scout unit, which is really good, including with the anti-tank grenades. Might be worth it. I just think it's a little too small, but the scout's a really good version 3 because you can infiltrate anywhere on the board as long as you're 12 inches away from the opponent. And at the same time, you get that sweet +1 cover save. Love it. The final infantry unit here is just because he had a couple of points left over. It's not very good. It's not very strong. It will die. It's there to maybe take an objective. An artillery observer with the Soviets gets that extra bonus there for the range, and that is there to pin down enemy heavy tanks. The sniper, I don't get in this version. I don't understand it. A lot of people said to me, well, maybe it's just for thematic reasons. And I get that. I am here for competitive reasons, right? That's what I do. I do competitive bold action. So you guys can do all the theme you want. When I comment on lists, I do so from a competitive standpoint. And the sniper has no purpose anymore. AT teams, though, really good. They are the new snipers. And you can buy 2 AT rifles for the price of 1 sniper, more or less. But these are not AT rifles. These are Ampumulets, which is HE2, which is an interesting thought because those HE might actually be able to pin the heavy tank if you can get a heavy tank in the opponent's list that is not veteran, because you can still shoot HE at it and give him extra pins. And then comes the killers. That is T-30s, medium tanks, 9+, so they're still fairly survivable. But they have medium AT guns +5, and he's got 3 of them. And this is what I mean when I say that the Soviets have so many really good AT options. Yes, they have heavy or medium heavy tanks of their own, which is, cool, brilliant. But they, on top of that, have really nice selections in the anti-tank. You can both take the AT rifle that everyone can, the dog mines, really good, and they have access to Panzerfaust. So the Soviets, for me, has the best anti-tank of the game, simply the best, no seconds. So yeah, that was Carl's list, and I wanted to show you Beth's as well, which is interesting because Beth is a co-writer for the Armies of Germany book. So it's called Wacht am Rhein, which is a really cool name. 1250 points, Germans, and she takes a 5-man officer team here. 5 submachine guns, veteran, 111 points. Paying that much for 5 veterans is definitely not competitive, right? Definitely not. I am not sure why this is done, for thematic reasons, I guess. But, you know. And then double Brandenburgers. Also, this I also do not get. Brandenburgers are veterans. You're getting 7 of them with a light machine gun, which you could argue could be an idea, but the rest have rifles. Normally, veterans would want to push forward. In this case, it feels like a backline holder unit, something that needs to sit in your own deployment zone. But why are you then buying veterans? That's overpriced. And why are you buying double Brandenburgers if you want them to sit in your own back line? Maybe she wants them to outflank. But if you want them to outflank, wouldn't you want something with a little more punch, like with a Panzerfaust or with assault rifles or SMGs? These units I don't get. And I especially don't get that you're buying 2 Brandenburgers, because you're paying extra points for the paranoia and sabotage, right? You're paying extra points for that. Why are you buying that twice? I don't get it. So I think it's to do the behind enemy lines outflank. But other than that, I don't understand these units. I don't understand them as outflankers, and I don't understand the equipment they have, and I don't understand why there are 2 of them. Sperrtruppen, love those guys. I completely understand it. I think they should have more submachine guns if possible, but I can't remember if you can. But 4 guys, infiltrators, 60 points. Yes, they're sort of like a German version of the Soviet scouts. Perfect. Love it. Feldjägers, which, you know, are okay if you're bringing shirkers or if you need your traffic directed. I'm not sure this list does, and there are no shirkers. Sniper team with pistols, okay. Not really a purpose, especially not veteran, but it is a little bit more survivable, and it does have infiltration, so there is that. And a field car. 6-man transport. I don't know what you want transported in this. The officer? Maybe? I don't see a reason to. You can't transport the Brandenburgers. You could transport the officer, 5-man officer team. I don't know why you would. It's soft-skinned. As soon as that soft-skinned vehicle dies, and it will, whatever's in there will get hit. So, another thing I don't understand. That's a lot of things I don't understand. Panther, in this matter, yes, I understand it. It's regular though, so it will get pinned from everything that shoots at it, including just, light mortars. So that sucks. It does have a super heavy AT gun and is pretty strong with the reinforced frontal armor. So it's a pretty nice vehicle. It's just, for competitive purposes, completely overpriced and not worth it. In this scenario where everyone is bringing a Death Star, yes, the super heavy AT gun is really nice, and I'm guessing that this will get Panzer Ace. Swimwagen, which will die. Pintle-mounted MMG and Recce, this is not going to do much. Heavy weapons platoon. Again, a platoon commander, veteran with 5 men, 1 assault rifle and the rest rifles. It's just overdoing it for relatively small units of veterans that are going to get killed really easily. Medium machine guns, love myself some medium machine guns. I would never buy them veteran because you're paying 15 points extra for nothing, something that's not really that much more survivable. 2 of them though, and with that extra shot, 7 shots, it's really cool. Yeah, so that was Beth's list here. Now, I wanted to show you guys, or let me just at least start by telling you some of the questions that I have. So, this was one of the questions, and I'll just... Ooh, there we go. So question, I was a little surprised when you said the Soviets have the best anti-tank options, but then I considered that the bomb dogs in an event with a higher dice cap would likely face lighter tanks. Yes, bomb dogs with lighter tanks is really good, but remember, lighter tanks, a lot of them have recce. Recce is the natural counter to bomb dogs. So I think bomb dogs are actually even better in a meta where you're only bringing like 1 or 2 heavy tanks. Way better for me. Do you still think the dogs are superior in environment? Yes, absolutely. The fact that the bomb dogs will always hit on a 4+ and that you can get them for 26 points per 2 is just so overpowered. The only thing that sort of brings them back a little in V3, and it's not much, but it's something. In V2, they were just completely OP. But in V3, it is brought a little back because 2 inexperienced dudes are not survivable at all. They're extremely vulnerable because of all the LMGs that can hit you as soon as you go onto the table. So there are ways to mitigate that, like buy a Jeep for them, something like that. But they're still very, very good. And they're so... because the bomb dog is not an assault. It's not really a shot either. It's just so overpowered. They break all the normal rules. And compare them to a German, what's that robot thing there? They're just so much better, so much cheaper, and so much better than the German version of it. And at the same time, the Soviets gives access to Panzerfaust and have some pretty nice tanks that are pretty cheap for medium tanks, like I just showed you the T-34s. So yeah, that is just... Soviets have the best anti-tank weapons, completely, hands down, no questions asked. The worst possibly is the Brits, but arguably. But they have so many other nice things. So, next part of the question. Being fairly new, but not brand new, how do you get guys get so many dice? I've tried to have 15 with Brits, 12 or 13 with US, and maybe 12 with Germany. Could you please do a video where you build these crazy amount of dice? They are not crazy. I don't understand how you can have so few. Sorry. I'll show you a list. Like, go and watch all my videos on, like, I review people's lists obsessively, right? I've done it so much. It's not something I particularly enjoy, but, you know, it's content for the channel. But I've also built a list especially for you, commenter here, where I'll show you what it is that I do with a list. So let me go back here. I have Easy Army up here. So this is an American 17 order dice list. This is, I think, for 1250, the lowest you should go in order dice for 1250. If you go lower than this at a competitive event, you're going to get creamed. So most of these, like I've just done all the reviews for Invasion of Europe, right? If people took these lists to a GT style competitive event, they would lose. They would just lose. No questions asked. Their armies would be bad in that meta. They're kind of okay because everyone is bringing the same, because you have to. 12 order dice, 1250, right? Everyone has to. Then the heavy tanks become better because you need the armor to protect yourself from the other guy's heavy AT guns, right? But in an environment where that is not the case, you are going to lose games. So, how do I do this? Well, I cut back on all the unnecessary stuff. So, my platoon commander here is inexperienced. I'm paying the cheapest platoon commander I can get. 21 points. Now, I take the platoon commander here. And remember, the list I just showed you, Beth's list, she was paying 111 points for a veteran platoon commander with a couple of extra guys in it. So it became a 5-man veteran squad. Okay, that's cool and all, but it's a waste of points. Points for value. Here, I just want the platoon commander. and I'm going to stick him behind stuff where he can't get shot, right? And just be a morale bubble for the rest of my troops that are going to do the actual fighting, right? Then I have Rangers, Veterans. We sort of found out in version 2 already that Veterans, there's an optimized squad size, which is about 7 or 8, depending on whether you want to be assaulters or not. Now, assault has gone completely from version 3, which I massively disagree with that decision, but it is what it is. So you can absolutely now get away with running 7-man veteran units. These 7-man veteran units, because of how difficult it is to kill veterans, they can push up into the center of the table a little bit. They can take a few punches before they become combat ineffective. So the Rangers here are even better because they have the one move that pushes them forward at the start of the game, right? So very, very quickly, I'm in the center of the table where the objectives normally are. And there, the veterans can take punches and can give punches. These veterans have a light machine gun, so I have range. I can reach down from turn 1 into my enemy's deployment zone with the rifles, with the light machine gun, and take a few punches. That is why they're there. This unit is just as good as a 10-man, just as good or better than a 10-man regular unit. Then, forward air observer. Why? Because for Americans, he fires twice. He's pretty cheap, 75 points. And if the enemy doesn't bring flak, he is deadly. Absolutely deadly. Bazooka team, because I need something to push my enemy's armor away from my units. So the bazooka team is not going to go hunting necessarily. It's going to sit behind a line of sight blocking area terrain and just wait. Just wait. And then if something happens, if the enemy, moves, I can just go on ambush or I can move out and shoot him. Light mortars, inexperienced, because again, the cheapest version I can get. They are horribly vulnerable, but they go late in the turn when nothing can threaten them. Then they shoot, and then at the start of the next turn, they can go down if I need to, or I can just wait, shoot again. A white scout car with a pintle-mounted HMG here is going to supplement. I can throw in a bazooka team and an officer if I want them to outflank. Then I can snap to the bazooka team and the white scout car in one go from my own deployment zone, for instance. And I can move up and I can go hunt stuff. The HMG will give a pin, then the bazooka will shoot and maybe kill that tank. Then an armored platoon, because armored platoons have already shown themselves to be overpowered. You need those if you want to win games, if you want to win tournaments. And you need to take not heavy tanks, you need to take at maximum. Points for value here. Maximum 8+. That is what you want. You don't want the 9+. They're too expensive for what they do. 10+ are horribly overcosted, but 8+, that works. So I have taken 2 Stuarts with the darker versions. They've got a lot of machine guns. They're really good against infantry. And then a Chaffee to hunt my enemy tanks with. So again, I have a little bit of anti-tank options here. The medium anti-tank gun is really good as a tank hunter. And because it's got recce, it can move up along flanks and just shoot someone's side. And then another rifle platoon, another commander, as cheap as possible. And I spend the points here on a couple of units that I want to sit back in my own deployment zone. So they're smaller, still ranges, so that I can move them. I can set them down in our Dyson bag deployment, and they'll just move away from where the enemy can threaten me. And again, light machine gun, BAR, because I didn't have the points. I could actually shift this BAR out to one of the units that are going to push into the center. These guys are going to sit in my back lines and going to go on ambush, sit there, wait, and then maybe late game move out. Another bazooka can also go in the white scout car and 2 more light mortars. This is a normal standard competitive army list, 17 order dice, and I haven't actually tried to push it even further, you could push it higher in the order dice. But I mean, the White Scout car is a bit of a luxury. You don't need that. You can get 2 more order dice for the points there. So that is how you build an army with 17 or more order dice. That's how you do it. So yeah, those were the questions that I had today, the answers that I had, and the lists that I have for you guys. Hope you enjoyed that. And yeah, that's it. Cheers.